Good morning, guys. Today we are going to be reviewing, and today is like a gold day. And yesterday I was like, gold. I was like making fun of it because it's like the day, and it's going to be really good stuff and not a lot of stuff to write down. But if you take the time that I'm asking you to today to do what you need to do, listen and take the notes that you need to take, you're going to be really good for your test. When is that again? 28th. Yes, Thursday the 28th. Okay, Thursday the 28th, which means until then we will be reviewing and having some Schoology reviews. If I can figure out technology-wise how to do like a Kahoot or something, we can do that too, and it'll be fun stuff. Okay, so yeah, if I were you, I would definitely get out your notes and let's get ready to party. What? I don't know, guys. I think I'm losing it. Yeah, the lights just turn off. It's fine. We'll just leave them off. It's no big deal. Okay. So I know there's a blank screen in front of us here. All right. So I'm going to kind of go over a little bit, of just what we've been talking about, and mostly based on your reading and the create your own test, which, by the way, those of you who have submitted that, most of you, the majority of you, maybe even 95% of you that submitted it, you did a really great job. And I went through all your questions, and they're really, really great questions. And you'd be surprised on how many questions, there was a lot of similarities, and meaning that, well, either meaning that you cheated or no, meaning that you guys really were able to grasp and pull out what you thought were important. And a lot of you thought a lot of the same things were important. And that was really great, to the point where I did grab a lot of those questions, and you will see them on your test. Remember, I did tell you I was going to do that. So if you haven't already, you might want to take some of those notes down from your own test that you created. So let's get going. How many types of muscle are there? How many types of muscle do we have? 600. Okay, no, because you are thinking of one of the type of muscles. And when we get to that, you'd be right on that. She said 600. How many different types? So now listen, I am not going to be able to see your chat because I have to click like 5 different things. Okay, I'm being really dramatic. I have to click on 2 different things to read your chat. Like someone just popped up, there's a chat, and I'm not going to read it because, I don't want to. So you're going to unmute yourself. And we're going to have a conversation. So how many different types of muscle are there?
I think it's only 3, right?
3. Yeah. So there's 3 type of muscle. Good. There are 3 type of muscle that we learned, right? Yeah, because I can't have you guys talking during our Zoom right? All right. So, and actually, Ashley over here to my left said she was talking about how there's 600 muscles, and what she was thinking about was skeletal muscle, right? And if you guys think, and before you learned any of this, if you didn't know anything about muscles, and it's the first time you're learning about these types of muscle, whenever in the past you heard the word muscle, you probably thought of skeletal muscle, because that's the muscle that is on us, that, we go to the gym, we work out, and that's the muscle that allows us to move. Without skeletal muscle, we won't be able to move. Okay. So there's over 600 skeletal muscle in the body. And if you recall from the first lesson of the muscular system, I showed you guys a diagram of the muscles, and we learned the 15 major muscles. Those are 15 out of those 600 muscles, skeletal muscle that we have. Now, if and it's responsible for movement. We've talked about that a few times now. So if I wanted to stand up and move and walk over to the door, could I do that? Yes or no? Is this thing on?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. I didn't know if maybe you guys left me or I was talking to myself again. Yes. If I wanted to pick up my water bottle and then put it down and then pick it back up again, could I do that if I wanted to?
Yes.
Why is it just one person, guys? Y'all suck. Kidding, you don't suck because I'm being recorded. Yeah, okay, I'm just messing with you guys. Yes. Okay, so do I have control? Do we have control over these muscles?
Yes.
Yes, we do. And what does it mean when you have control over something?
Voluntary.
That's correct. That's not how you spell that. Voluntary. All right. So when you have control over a type of muscle and you are able to control the movement or then it is voluntary. That is what voluntary means. Okay. Some of you said in some of your questions that aren't necessarily correct. That another word for skeletal muscle is voluntary. That's not necessarily true. I mean, I know what you were trying to say, but just remember that it's the control and voluntary that have to do with each other. Okay. But yes, skeletal muscle is a voluntary muscle because we have control over it. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions at all? Speak now or forever hold your feet. Okay. The next one, smooth muscle. Where in the body, not boy, where in the body can we find smooth muscle? Where are there examples in the body where we can find smooth muscle? What do you guys think?
The bladder.
Okay, I heard bladder. And then Cheyenne said the stomach, right? The GI tract. The GI tract. Your esophagus, okay? So like your whole digestive system in a way, right? Think about it. You eat food. If I was able to take my mask off, I'd have one of these. They're olives. It's a really great snack. A little high in sodium, but a really great low calorie snack, okay? Don't make fun of me over there. You know what? I liked it better when you guys were home, okay? Kidding. So if I were to eat an olive, right? And it goes down into my stomach. Do I have control over it going down to my stomach? It's not like I sit there and I think, okay, esophagus, bring my food down to my stomach. All right, stomach, you work your magic and you digest my food, right? Do we have control over over this?
No.
We do not. That wasn't supposed to be. Wow. No, we do not. So, voluntary or involuntary?
Involuntary.
Correct. I just feel like underlining everything and just like having fun here. Look at that. Good. I did? No, it's not spelled wrong. It would have been underlined with a red little squiggly line. The computer does everything for you now. She said I spelled it wrong. Okay. And then finally, you know, some of us have heard of cardiac, cardio, cardiovascular, cardio workouts. So when you hear the word cardiac, where's the only place in the body? I know you guys know this. Where's the only place in the body where you can find cardiac muscle?
Your legs?
Not your legs. Skeletal muscle is around your body and on top of your
Your
legs.
heart.
Say that again.
Your heart.
Yes. The heart. Your heart is made up of cardiac muscle. So it is a type of muscle, but it is made up of cardiac muscle. Now, I asked this question yesterday in one of my classes, and I was like, are you able to control whether your heart beats faster or slower? And somebody said yes, because if you start to go for a run, then your heart's going to be faster. And then if you stop, your heart's going to slow down. And it made a lot of sense. And I asked him, but are you actually speeding up or slowing down your heart? Or is it your movement, which is skeletal muscle, right? That is actually speeding up or slowing down the heart. So do we have control over cardiac muscle? And that answer is no, we do not. Okay. It's not like I can sit here and just have my brain send a message down to the muscles of my heart and say beat faster. Because trust me, if I had that option, I would do it all the time because I could work out without actually having to go for a run. I mean, yeah, duh. Why wouldn't anyone want to do that? Right? The lazy generation. I'm kidding. You're not lazy. You guys are awesome. So if we do not have control of our cardiac muscle, voluntary or involuntary?
Invol.
Yes, right. Involuntary. So if we look here, we see skeletal is voluntary and smooth and cardiac are involuntary. There's a lot of different like questions, right? How many different types of muscles are there? 3. Which of the 3 are voluntary? So you kind of have to realize, you have to remember the 3, which one's voluntary, which one's involuntary, and where they can be found. Okay? Please ask me a question if you don't understand something, or if you'd like me to go over something again, please ask me.
I have a question.
Yes.
What about face muscles?
They are voluntary, although considered under the skin, they're a different kind of thing, and there's a lot of factors to that, and that's a really great question, but nothing that we are going to really be going over with. But they are voluntary. That's a great question.
Okay. All right.
And how do we know that face muscles are voluntary?
You can control them.
Yeah, you can control them. I'm sitting here looking like an idiot. None of you guys are probably looking at me anyway, so no one knows what I'm doing. But yeah, you can control them. Good. You smile, you frown. I would have done it with my mouth and smile and frown, but you guys can't see that. So that's a really great question. So there's a few muscle terms I'd like to go over that I'm going to put in bold here that I think are pretty important, especially if there are some of you, and maybe you're already there, but there are some of you that might be starting to think about, your body. You might be starting to think about, you know what, I really want to gain muscle in my chest or my arms, or, my legs are twigs and, I want to gain a little bit more muscle in maybe my calf area. Or maybe some of you are like, I want to lose a bit of fat in this area, or I want to tone some of these muscles here. Knowing not only where these muscles are, but what they do is going to help you get there. So maybe not interested in the moment, some of you, but eventually you may be. The first one I'd like to talk about is the word contract. And again, this is all from, the reading that you've read. This should be familiar to you. Does anyone remember what the word contract means? What does the word contract means? And don't look it up. Don't Google it. Just take a guess, or if you know. Does anyone know?
I only know like contracting muscle or something.
Okay. And what do you think that means? Yeah, you're right. It has to do with muscles.
Like you're focusing on it?
No. Nice guess. So contracting a muscle means to tighten a muscle. It means to tighten a muscle. And I always like to say, like, when a muscle is contracting, that is when it's working. That's when it's working. So like when you're working out and stuff, you're actually contracting the muscle over and over and over and over and over again. You're kind of like beating the muscle up while you work out. You're kind of breaking down the muscle while you work out. And then when you recover, that's when the muscle grows stronger. It's kind of a weird concept, but it's true. Okay. Now there's actually, if I could learn how to spell, see, I can't learn how to spell. There's an opposite word here to contract, and that word is relax. So if contract means tighten, what do you think relax means?
Loosen.
Yep. That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. The reason why I added these two words here is because a lot of times when we think about the word flex, this word right here, we get the word flex and the word contract confused. So if I were to tell you, hey, show me your muscle, flex your muscle for me. Flex your muscle, Cheyenne, flex it. What would you do if I tell you to flex? Okay, she just went like this. She went like this. I said, flex your muscle. She was like, ah, okay? And that's why we get confused, because what she's actually doing is she's contracting the actual muscles, because muscles themselves, and we are talking about skeletal muscle. We are only talking about skeletal muscle here. Flex means bend. Flex means bend. And skeletal muscles, they don't actually bend. They don't fold, right? It's not like this muscle right here, my biceps. It's not like it like folds or bends, right? What the muscles themselves do is they contract and they relax. The movement of our body that we see is a part of our body flexing or moving in a different direction, which I'm going to talk about. So I'm just going to write down here, just so you guys can see this. It's very important. Muscles do not flex. Okay, they contract. They tighten up and they loosen. They tighten up and they loosen. So let me just talk about this muscle here. I want you guys to look at me real fast, okay? My biceps brachii. And before I get there, I should talk about the opposite so that when I talk about it, you know what I'm saying. Extend would be the opposite of flex. And if flex means bend, what do you think extend means? What's the opposite of bend?
Straighten.
Yeah. Yup. Again, I don't know how to spell because apparently I'm just a gym teacher, right? Yeah. So I'm like a perfectionist. All has to be even. So good. So my biceps brachii right here. And some of this explanation that I'm about to give you has to do with your retention and your ability to remember and be able to review the things that you've already learned. Because I'm going to talk about some things that were in your reading. And if you haven't reviewed anything, or if you just went through that reading to get your questions and you submitted it and you haven't looked at it yet, since then, you might be a little bit confused. Okay. So my biceps brachii is a flexor muscle, which means it does not bend. The muscle itself does not bend, but when it contracts and it gets smaller, it pulls against my bone and it bends a part of my body. So in order for me to take my arm from here to here, my biceps muscle right here has to contract in order for me to bend my arm at my elbow, which is a joint, which is a hinge joint. You guys are like, huh? I don't remember that. That was like so last marking period or last month, whatever, right? So your biceps brachii is a flexor muscle. So you should already know, if you remember here, I highlighted it, that the biceps is a flexor muscle, then you should know the movement of the body when the bicep contracts is a bending movement. It flexes a part of your body. The muscle itself does not bend or flex. The body movement after the muscle contracts is what bends or flexes. Okay? I'll give you guys a second. So like, what does this mean when we talked about muscles working in opposite pairs? And if you guys remember back when we went over the muscle diagram, I told you guys that muscles work in opposite pairs and that you don't really have to worry about it then and there, and we'll talk about it later. But I did tell you guys to kind of star or write down those muscles as we went through it and what muscles work in pairs. So what is the muscle with the biceps that work as an opposite pair of the biceps?
The triceps?
Correct. And I did tell you that that's not how you spell it. Gosh, Diamond. I did tell you that I wanted you guys to write that down and to remember that. So keep that in mind. Now I'm going to explain how they work in opposite pairs. All right. If they're opposites, if this one and this one are opposites, and the biceps is a flexor muscle, then someone tell me what the triceps is. So Cheyenne said extender. You're very close. It's just not the correct term. Can one of you guys answer that correctly? She said extender.
Sensor, like
Extensor.
with an S.
Yep. Good. So that just means that when the biceps contracts, it flexes your arm. And while the bicep is working, contracting, the triceps is relaxing. It's chilling. I'll repeat it. When the bicep contracts, it flexes your arm flexes. And maybe I should write that. The arm flexes, and we will be there you go. The arm flexes at your elbow. And during this, the tricep relaxes. And then it's the opposite for the triceps. When the triceps contracts, your arm extends or straightens out, and your bicep chills. It's relaxing. So what I'm trying to get at here is having you guys understand the difference between contract and flex. And that the reason why people say, yo, flex your muscle, and we do this, is because technically we're contracting our muscle to make this movement with our arm. But because we do this movement and the bicep is a flexor muscle and we flex a part of our body, that's where that term comes from, to flex your muscle. Because we never actually flex our muscles. We contract our muscle. We're working out our muscle. And when one of the opposite pairs of muscles is working, the other part is relaxing. And that's how they work in opposite pairs. When one of the opposite pairs of muscles is working, the other muscle is relaxing. And when that muscle is working, the other one is relaxing. Any questions there? All right, so in your guides, if you haven't noticed already, I did put the muscle diagram in here. With all the muscles, don't worry about the Achilles tendon. We didn't learn that this year. And I just want to have you guys focus your attention on the adductors, which, if you guys remember, the muscle on the inside of the thigh, and the abductors, muscle on the outside of the thigh or the hip. Okay? The terms abductors and adductors actually come from the term abduct and adduct. So the word abduct, this one right here, means away from the center of body. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. But I want to give you guys the definitions first so that you understand. And then the term adduct, as you can see, I wrote, towards the center of the body. So has anybody been to the gym ever? Have you ever been to the gym?
Yeah, I do these machines.
Okay, so there you do the machines, right? Maybe I should pause the recording, but it's okay. The machine is kind of feels a little sexual in a way. Am I wrong? Okay, and if any of you guys know what I'm talking about, you can just look up adductors and abductors machines. Literally, you're sitting and you take your legs from the inside and then you go out against weight. And then there's another one where you can change the weight, where you're kind of moving your legs in, but you're pushing against weight. And pretty much when you push against weight or your own body weight, You are working out the muscle and you're increasing weight to whatever that movement is. And that's how you work out. So for example, like doing this, I can do this all day. I mean, this is easy, right? But if this was like a 10 or 20 pound weight and I hold this in my hand and I go like this, it's going to be a little harder. And that's how you work out, because you're increasing muscle strength, right? And you're increasing the weight to that muscle. So I'm going to do something funny and funny. And if you look here, I'm going to start with the abductors. It's on the outside part of your hip. And you guys might be laughing now, but you're in front of me and you're all going to have to do this. And I'm going to ask them to do it, but I can't see them. So suckers. Okay. So what I'm going to show you guys, yeah, this is good. So here's my abductors, ABD. I'm going to highlight this so you know which one I'm talking about, okay? The movement, in order to work this out, is you take your leg and you want to move it away from the body. So just like that, all right? If I want to adduct, which is this one, whoa, which is this one, right? I'll take my leg and then I bring it back to the center of my body. So this is abduct, ABD, and then this is adduct, ADD. The way I remember that always whenever I've done this is that if I highlight this here, red, then you see the word add. So it's kind of like you're adding something to the center of your body. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do just for a minute, and for you guys at home, it should be simple, it should be easy, nobody's looking at you. For you guys though, I get to look at you. So here's what I want you to do. I just want you to stand up and try it, because I want you to see, I want you to actually feel something for a minute, okay? Hey, look at them, they're doing it. Okay. They're probably like, oh God. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to take your leg, doesn't matter which one. When I say go, you're gonna abduct, you're gonna move your leg away, and then you're gonna hold it. You're gonna hold it there. And when you hold it there, you should be able to feel exactly where your abductors are. Ready, set, go. Hold it straight out, higher. Do you feel it? You should feel something back here. Okay, stop. Good. Have a seat. So for some people, the abductors are not a muscle that we work out often. And that's a good workout. It's a very good workout for the outer thigh. And the reason why I asked you to hold it there, if you did it, is I wanted you to feel where your abductors were. And you should be able to feel that tightening, that maybe the little sore, little pain right there. That is where your abductors are. When you bring your leg back to the center of your body, you're using your adductors, but you might not feel that because you're not really going against gravity. Before, when you had your leg out, you had to hold your leg there against gravity, and that's why you felt it, because there was the weight of your leg. All right? All right, good. So are there any questions with what we went over or anything like that? Anything you guys didn't understand or wanted me to go over again? No questions? Okay, great.